Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video I'd like to talk to you about Under Armour. This is a sports company that in recent years has, got a lot of extra exposure. It got really well known. It had this massive growth over the past 2 decades particularly. And so this is a company that I would really like to talk about, especially in comparing it to Nike and to Adidas. They're comparable in the sense that they're all sports companies, but they're also different in the sense that Under Armour is much more about performance enhancement. Right? It wants you to help you excel in the sports that you do in terms of the performance, whereas Nike and Adidas, they also have this part of their business, but they also have the other part, which is simply, having you wear sporty clothes also on your day-to-day activities, like just day in, day out. If you're, just deciding what to wear for your leisure time, for leisure moments, if you just want to go out, have a snack, eat something, watch a movie, why not wear also Nike and Adidas when doing that? Well, Under Armour didn't want to go that direction. It really stuck to its performance enhancement strategy. It really wanted to keep focusing on that. And because of that, we see actually 2 different categories of sports companies, and this is super interesting because Under Armour had this period, particularly of 2 decades, where it did really well until 2015, where it even overtook Adidas in terms of its stock market value. But after 2015 especially, there was this chain of events that really hurt Under Armour, and now it's kind of trying to change and turn the tide. And in this video I'd like really want to take you through the chain of events that happened. So what was it that really led to Under Armour becoming the company that it is? How was it able to overtake Adidas? Not Nike, but at least it came also close to Nike. And how are these 2 categories actually different from each other, and why does it matter? So without any further ado, let's jump into the topic. So the first thing that we have to talk about, of course, other than strategies, that also these companies are different still today in terms of when they were founded, so how old they are, and also in terms of their market value still. So Nike is a company that is 56 years old. It was founded in 1964, whereas Adidas is even older. It was founded in 1949, and this company is 71 years old, which is amazing, right? And they're still so successful after all those years. Under Armour is compared to these companies a rookie. In terms of its the amount of years that is around. Under Armour is there only for 24 years. It was founded in 1996. But despite that, as said, the market value of Under Armour today is 5 billion. Right? Of Adidas is 22, and of Nike is 35 billion, right? So we see that currently Under Armour really became much smaller than these other 2 companies. But as said before, in 2015, Under Armour did overtake Adidas and was actually bigger than Adidas as a company. And this really showed that from 1996 to 2015, in just 19 years, it was able to overtake a company like Adidas, that of course by that time was over 50 years old. And this is amazing how in such a short time period, Under Armour, as a rookie still back in those times, of course, was able to overtake one of the biggest sports companies around. And of course, this is related to strategy. As I said, Nike and Adidas are much more diversified. They do all sorts of things, not just sports enhancement. They also, of course, move to the digital domain. But on top of this, of course, they're also into the more day-to-day sportswear, leisure wear. Whereas Under Armour really was focused on sports enhancement. They are still focused on this, but their target market really appreciated this because the strategy being so focused and tailored towards sports people, of course, also gives a brand knowledge to this, especially among sports people. And don't just think about professional sporters, but also think about college sporters. So all sorts of people that want to excel in the sports they do, at some point started to think much more about Under Armour than about Nike and Adidas. And if you really think about this slogan currently, which is the only way is through, that really indicates it's really about performance and that you really have to go the last mile in order to really show what you've got. And Under Armour wants to take you there. It wants to take you through. And that's interesting. So Under Armour wanted to be different. It didn't want to mimic Adidas and Nike. It didn't want to go into this area that's called athleisure, which is like athletics wear, sportswear for leisure moments, right? Under Armour stick to what it wanted to be, to its core identity, and that brought a lot of success. It really brought a lot of growth, and in 2015, finally it became bigger than Adidas, and that was a massive signal. But then, right, what happened. And so a lot of events, chain of events, really led to some really difficult moments for Under Armour. One is that they really want to grow fast, and because of that they did all sorts of things to help them grow faster, right? So one of the things, for example, is that they moved into areas that they did not have a lot of knowledge about. It was sports, but not really the branches of sports that Under Armour as a company is knowledgeable about. They didn't have the skills and capabilities for it, but still, because they want to grow fast, want to perhaps even overtake Nike, they went into those areas, and that didn't really end with the success that they wanted. They really made mistakes, and of course this hurt their brand reputation, and with that of course caused a loss in commerce, and with that of course a loss in terms of market value. If you take this further, as said, when Nike and Adidas moved into the athleisure part, surely in terms of their strategy, in terms of brand identity, it became a bit more loose. It was people were really thinking, are these fashion companies or are these sports companies? So in that sense, perhaps, Under Armour nailed it, but on the other side of things, Nike and Adidas were able to grow so fast because apparently this was an area where there was much demand for, and Under Armour missed all of this demand because they want to stick to their roots and identity. So this is something we have to congratulate them for. They didn't just want to have sales, but wanted to be recognizable in terms of being a company that's about sports enhancement, performance enhancement within sports. But still, a lot of income was missed here. Nike and Adidas did not miss out on these sports, and then you see that this helped Nike and Adidas grow faster in this area, whereas Under Armour was not. If we take this further, one of the things that went wrong is of course business investment, right? So one of the things that Under Armour wanted to do is couple its clothing, its apparel, its equipment for sports with a digital part to its company. It wanted to have applications, it wanted to have software, things that could actually track how well you do in the sports area, and with that help sporters perform even better. Nike and Adidas already have this, and in quite extensive way. They're also in the wearables market, for example. So then you see Nike and Adidas really lifting on this because this became a success for them. They're really doing well in that area, also coupling that, of course, in a fashionable manner to what they're doing. Coupling this also to some other technology brands. And then you see that Nike and Adidas will really help. We're really able to grow with this software attack, with this wearables attack that they did, and with this growth in general in the technology and digital market, Nike and Adidas were able to grow along. Under Armour did also some investments in that area. Endomondo was one of the companies that are important in this regard. MyFitnessPall was also one, but both really didn't turn out what Under Armour wanted to be. It really didn't get a lot of income from this. It was not really able to integrate it to all of its equipment and apparel. And then you see that, a mistake, not perhaps an investment, because I think this was a smart choice. I think Under Armour should pursue this direction. But the mistake in terms of managing this acquisition of these applications, and with that of course the hardware also around it, if you could make that work, and if you could supply that to the sporters and all of the people that really want not only their sports performance to be enhanced, but also want to see this, well then you could really have something lucrative in your hands. Under Armour decided to cut these divisions off, decided to sell them, and decided to focus really on apparel and equipment. And I think this was a mistake, and that this will hurt them in growing faster compared to, let's say, Nike and Adidas. One of the things where things also really went wrong is retailers. This also went, for example, wrong for Nike. You see that retailers, especially in crisis areas, especially in moments of, for example, trade wars that we saw between the US and China, in moments of COVID-19, you see that retailers are a cost, but not really a benefit. They take some commission, and they, of course, with that decrease the income that you're going to have. Sure, they also lead to exposure, but apparently the benefits were less than the costs. So Nike as well, alongside Under Armour, are deciding to cut costs through reducing the amount of retailers they have, and they want to focus on direct selling to the consumer, this way bypassing the retailer, being able to accrue all of the income, and doing so with much less costs, and being perhaps also able to learn much more about the customer. Because if you sell directly to the customer, you know exactly what the customer wants, you get customer data, you can couple this to loyalty programs. If you have the software for it, just like Nike and Adidas have, then on top of this you can also, through the software, are able to learn a lot about your customer. And that's why I also think that Under Armour should still pursue that avenue. If all of this comes together, then this retailer move is very smart, but they should couple it to software and hardware to be able to learn more about the customer. Culture is also one of the things that Under Armour, got hurt a lot by. At some point when they were growing fast, of course, they kind of got cocky. They got too self-confident, and with that, there was this culture of not listening to other employees, not listening to consultants, not listening to peers. In terms of the management, I'm talking about. If this happens, what Under Armour, for example, did when we talk about the Curry shoe line, then Curry 1 was a success. Curry 2. They thought it would also be a massive success, and even more so than the Curry 1. So they didn't really do their due diligence, really didn't do good planning, really didn't think things through. In such a situation, what you then see is that this backfires, and also going to, of course, backfire in the Curry 3, and eventually the Curry line did not really become the success that they wanted it to be, especially also because then you saw that for the personal relations came into play, managers' wives had some ideas about Curry and so on. So you can read all of this on the internet. Some of these might be unproven, might be just slander, but generally the thing is, which is kind of well documented, is that the culture at Under Armour prevented the company from doing due diligence that they did for so many years, prevented from taking things sufficiently serious to be able to grow as fast as Nike and Adidas have been doing so for so many years, and this of course helped the company back in being able to grow faster than Adidas. And then you see that after 2015, Adidas again overtook Under Armour, and Under Armour is now only a quarter of what Adidas is worth, and even like less than 20% of what Nike is worth. Then you also had some employee issues, not taking employees seriously. If employees came from other companies, then they were either prioritized or they were second-rank employees. So in general, there was not really this culture of embracing, valuing, respecting each other, respecting knowledge because it's knowledge, rather than looking at people and deciding based on people. In such an environment, if you don't trust others, if you don't hire the right people and have to listen to the right people, then you get a problem, and this was a problem at Under Armour. Boiling down to the end of this video, so what is the solution here? Well, you see that the new manager really sees the problems and really is trying to go after these problems. So they cut the amount of retailers already. They also cut the software simply because they saw that there was not a lot of income coming from there. I think that's a mistake, as they still should prioritize this digital movement of the world, these trends. They should really go after, and they should really do something with technology in the business. But there, at least, they also saw that, hey, we are loss making here, we're not getting income, too many investments, perhaps cut it for now. So you see a retailer movement being cut, you see the technology movement being cut for the sake of cutting costs and being able to, of course, increase profits, be it only in the short term, but still, it works. And then you see, of course, that this manager also saw the problems around culture and the problem around how employees are treated, and this new manager also tries to solve this, right? And we're talking about the CEO. And taking all of this together, I think that, if Under Armour sticks to its strategy, sticks to performance enhancement, on top of this, combines this with direct selling, combines this with software and hardware, and in this way really able to become a total solutions provider in sports, I think that Under Armour can achieve really great things, and especially towards the future, it can really, really make a statement like, we were once second in this industry, and perhaps tomorrow we're going to be first. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe buttons. I wish you all the best in the world and hope to see you again soon. Take care.